Assalamu alaikum, APPNA members. My name is Tariq Alam, member of the APPNA Communications Committee. Welcome to the APPNA Committee Cafe series. This is a forum where we will be talking with each committee chair and we will get to know about their committees, what inspired them to join this committee, and what work the committee does for APPNA members both here and the United States and in Pakistan. It's my honor to have Dr. Danish Bhatti as the inaugural guest of this series. So, Danish Bhatti, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here.
So, Danish, it's going to be a very casual kind of conversation. We want APNA members to know what committee you're chairing, what your committee does. So, before we go into that, just tell a little bit about yourself.
I'm a graduate of King Edward Medical College. I graduated in 2004, and I did my residency in neurology at University of Nebraska Medical Center. And then I did a 2 years fellowship in movement disorders, Parkinson's disease, and tremors at the University of Nebraska Medical Center, and stayed there for faculty up until 3 years ago. And 3 years ago, I relocated to Florida in Orlando. I'm currently education chair for neurology at University of Central Florida College of Medicine. And then I have clinical affiliation with the Orlando VA. And I've been involved with APPNA since 2014 off and on, but formally with the committee since 2017.
Danish, that's a very impressive resume that you have. Tell us a little bit about RESA. RESA jo naam hai, it sounds very dramatic. What exactly is RESA? What it stands for?
So RESA is one of the various committees of APPNA. It stands for Research, Education, and Scientific Affairs, so RESA. And it's a committee that has been mandated to promote and oversee educational activities for APPNA members in US in various of the conferences and other platforms, maintain the accreditation with the ACCME. So we are a CME offering organization accredited with the Accreditation Council for Continuing Medical Education. So we can offer AMA level 1 category credits. And then also promote the activities of research within APPNA membership and various elements of scientific affairs within APPNA.
So, Danish, that's a very lengthy resume that this committee has. A lot of people are not really sure what RESA does, what Merit does. So, how would you differentiate RESA from basically Merit committee that APPNA has?
So the Merit Committee was formulated a little after RESA Committee with the primary goal of um, updating or enhancing the medical education in Pakistan. So it started as a task force, and the very first goal was the curriculum update within Pakistan. So many people don't know now that the main curriculum reform with a longitudinal curriculum that happened in Pakistan was actually initiated by Merit efforts in 2006 and complete in 2007. And since then, now they're doing another reform in last 2 3 years. But up until now, all the curriculum that was being implemented in Pakistan was the efforts of Merit. And then at that time, Merit also initiated some fellowships that didn't exist in Pakistan. And over the years, we have helped add on multiple fellowships in Pakistan. I personally have helped with movement disorder education in neurology and stroke through Merit. But the bottom line is that Merit has always focused on enhancing the medical education plus the research activities within Pakistan. The RESA committee, which is existed longer than Merit, was always focused on the educational efforts for APPNA members here in US. So the working physicians here in US. So it was always focused on providing CMEs needed for their board recertifications and things like that.
So, are there any challenges that APPNA RESA committee faces, in implementing its programs here in the United States?
Um, it did, and things are improving, but over the years, the one challenge was that the ACCME accreditation has become more and more complex and requiring a lot more oversight. And that has been a challenge because we never had an Office of Education within APPNA. So the general admin staff was always tasked with also keeping up with the ACCM requirement, which they were always falling behind. So we actually lost accreditation in the past twice. So we had it, then we lost it, then we got reaccredited, then we lost it, and then we got reaccredited again 5 years ago. But now, we have been doing a better job with it. But the second challenge I would highlight is that because accreditation in ACCME and CME offering became such a big deal, that RESA became solely focused on that goal and kind of ignored the research mandate and the scientific affairs mandate and other things that RESA could have done. That has been something that we have been thinking about in the last few years in RESA.
So that leads to the next question, जैसे आपने कहा कि are there any plans, or programs which RESA committee has in the pipeline, which will basically, make it live to its mandate, apart from the
Yeah,
CME?
right. So, apart from the CME, but just to re-stress on it, streamlining CME to a point where RESA can then have bandwidth to do other things was very important, and it took a lot of effort. 2 years ago, we had to go through reaccreditation. That was our first reaccreditation after the third time getting the accreditation back, and we didn't want to lose it this time because then it would have been too hard to get it fourth time. And there were already voices saying that maybe APPNA should not have a CME accreditation and just buy it from the market. So it took a lot of effort. It was like a self-study and very complex process. Took 2 years to finally get recredited. Now we again recredited for 4 years. And part of whole that process was over the last 3 years, we have set up a whole CME office. So we have now two full-time coordinators with RESA committee. One is an admin coordinator, another is a CME coordinator. They do all the paperwork, they keep track of everything, to do self-studies and do audits and everything so that we stay accredited and we stay compliant. And then now it has opened up space for us to do other things. So there are two other things that we can do within the research side. We're looking at how we can participate in enhancing the research impact within APPNA. And the focus there is for junior members, for residents and fellows and early career faculty. And on the other side, for the scientific affairs, we are in the time where so much innovation is happening in healthcare. There's a talk of healthcare 4.0 with AI, with large language models and pattern recognition, imaging. There's also robotics and chips and all of that. So that one thing that we're trying to bring in RESA over the last 2 years was innovation and entrepreneurship. So many healthcare startups are launching as part of this wave of healthcare 4.0. And we are trying to see how we can make RESA forward-looking by bringing in innovation and entrepreneurship within APPNA.
I think that's a phenomenal job that all of you are doing, and I think having a CME coordinator will definitely go a long way in making sure that our CME remains in compliance with all the relevant authorities. But Danish, you mentioned that RESA is also involved with some kind of research. So are we talking about research electives for students? Are we talking about clinical trials? A lot of APPNA members have wondered, if there's any avenue for the organization to provide them with opportunities to get involved in research trials. So what would you say about the research aspect of RESA? I mean, what is the scope? What are some of the things which you have in mind?
So we have not done much yet, to be honest, for the last 3 years that I've been involved as chairs of the committee. And I've been exploring what's the scope that we can do. Merit does a lot of work for research in Pakistan, and we all, of course, are happy to strengthen that. And then YPC has been doing a lot of work with the residency applicants and also now a little bit with the residents or medical students. So I think that what RESA can do will be to develop programs that can support those efforts from other committees. So, for example, we have talked about very early stages about some kind of a grant opportunities. RESA has been, is one of well-funded committee because any leftover funds from the educational efforts, the CME fees and things like that, technically, as per ACCME rules, have to be spent on educational efforts. So you can't spend it for anything else. So APPNA has done a good job in saving them into a CME account or CME funds. So now we have been gathering funds, and then we can gather more in the future. But then that opens up opportunity for us to create scholarships or create a grant fund. So we can do pilot grants for APPNA members or APPNA members early stage careers award. We can give, $5,000, $10,000 seed grant or pilot grant. And that can go towards, for example, if there are residents who are coming to APPNA meetings to present abstracts, we can support those. We can give travel grants like some conferences do or associations do. We can give $1,000 of a travel grant to come and attend the APPNA meeting so they can come and present an abstract and they can go in their resume, go towards their fellowship application. Similarly, we can do an early career award, $10,000, $20,000 for a junior faculty or a fellow who's looking to start up a
Absolutely.
research project. So we're thought about travel grants, we thought about poster competition awards, prizes, we thought about early career awards, and I think we have enough to at least fund it for the next 3 to 5 years.
That's
And we can probably do 20, 30,000, maybe up to 50,000 a year. But then if we can set up some mechanisms within the CME fees or CME programs, annual meetings, where we can continue to then fund it in long term. So I think that will be one of the things in the research side that the RESA should be looking at over the next year or two.
I think that's incredible, as you mentioned that RESA can fund for the next several years now. I think that is something which is very exciting. A lot of APPNA members probably don't know. So one question that arises is that it seems to be a very academic-oriented committee. So is there any requirement, if one wishes to be a member of this committee, do they have to be in academics, or, even private practitioners or other regular APPNA members are also welcome to be part of this committee?
Yeah, you don't have to be academic because the RESA committee is a policy making or administrative committee. So the committee itself doesn't do any research, and we don't publish and we don't write papers or do anything. We actually have to do administrative work, and for some or many academics that actually it's too boring for them, and many private practitioners that actually more have a better aptitude for policy making, for setting up programs, for creating administrative tasks and missions and things like that. So if you are interested in providing oversight or providing goals, goal setting, providing policy directions for what RESA should be doing, some of the things I mentioned earlier and some things we will discuss later, then you are more than welcome to come. So over the years, RESA have always had a mix of people who are doing actively research and education from academics and also from private practice, so that we can bring all sorts of perspective towards setting up all these programs and projects for the committee.
Any challenging aspect that you have faced this year in particular while running this committee?
Nothing unusual. I mean, there's continuation of some things that we're still working on. On the CME side, one challenge we still have is that our processes are still inefficient. So, for example, there are two things we're still missing. One, we have to mark some form of an attendance to tell that people who are claiming certificates were present there. And ACCM is starting to become more and more strict about that. You can't just claim without having been there. And we still have those paper sheets, sign-in sheets, and then we are running after it, who has the paper sign-in sheet.
Yes.
And somebody
It's a
sends
challenge.
email, I was there and there's no sign-in, and I need to claim CME. And so we need to modernize that. That's part of the whole modernization thing that we've been working on. We introduced QR codes in the summer meeting that were pushing more and more towards a QR sign-in or some app-based sign-in or something like that. And then the other thing is that I really think that the CME process should be automated as much as possible. So there is an Office of Education or Office of CME that just kind of runs it. And even though if RESA continues to provide oversight, they should have less and less burden of doing that so they can focus on the research aspects and the scientific affairs efforts more and less on the education side. And all of those processes are still continuing. This year, I did early on push that our coordinators were part-time. I was able to get BOD to finally approve the funds for a full-time job for both coordinators, admin and CME coordinator. But it took longer than ideal. That's one of the challenges that budget items move very slowly. It takes a long time for the budget to be presented. And then because it's a one comprehensive budget, your things get stuck behind other things
Right.
that are in the budget item. So it's almost like, one big bill, big beautiful bill that has to pass. So maybe separating it out into separate budget items so that CME budget is done by March or February or something like that. You don't have to wait
Right.
till July or August after summer meeting to get your budget done. So that was one of the things that I laughed at, but it went through, but took a long time, months to finally get that budget approved. So minor things like that.
Well, really, congratulations to you and your team, for basically being so persistent about it. I think it's important because RESA really aligns with APPNA's mission also. We are a professional medical organization, and really, this RESA is at the heart of APPNA's mission. So, would you agree with that?
I would partially. I think that APPNA definitely also have a lot of focus on networking and socializing, and I think that's an important outlet for us as Pakistanis to have a place where we can gather and celebrate our culture and our common backgrounds. And I think that we shouldn't. A lot of time we underappreciate the value of that. But at the same time, yes, because we're all physicians, part of us is always academic excellence. And I think in the last 5 years, things have improved dramatically.
Yeah.
Education and research efforts and all committees, which are education committees, are actually on the leading fronts right now in APPNA. So the whole ship has moved towards more of an academic organization. And yes, we still have everything else going on, but more and more emphasis on the academic activities, and which is great.
I think in the last few years there has been a huge focus on educational activities, and thanks to your committee and Merit and YPC, APNA members have a very favorable attitude towards what APNA does in terms of education. I have one question which some members were a little bit concerned about, that the cardiology CME seems to be organized by APCNA, which is the cardiology arm of APNA. So, do you have any, collaboration with them, or they are a separate entity? And what do you feel about, having these different specialty component societies within APNA? So, where do you see the relevance of RESA as such if these different specialty societies will take over their own CMEs?
Yeah. So, there are two models of CME delivery in APNA and probably many other organizations. One is the centralized model. And years ago, I remember 5, 6 years ago, the CME programs are very centralized. RESA committee will set the agenda, we'll set the topic, we'll select the speakers, and we'll run it. And there are benefits to that, but there are also downsides to it.
Yeah.
There's less involvement of the people who are regional, who are participating, and they feel less control, they feel less involved. But at the same time, there is some value in terms of improving the quality of speakers and quality of in agenda and topics and things like that. But over the years, gradually the model has shifted to be a more decentralized model where the local host committees have taken more and more ownership. And then within that model, although host committee is running the main agenda, then there's specialty societies within APPNA, APCNA, PAPANA, and other APPNA PEDs came up and they said, we're going to do our own program for our members. So cardiologists don't want to go to hematology, oncology lectures, infectious disease lectures, psychiatry lecture. They want half a day or a one day where they just can come in and just talk about cardiology. And the audience is more limited now. It's just cardiologists only. And it's not going to be general audience, which is internists and family practitioners and hospitals, things like that. And that came about because there was more and more decentralization where the host committees were given more leverage on selecting the topics and selecting speakers. This year, I think the balance that I've seen is that the RESA committee is kept involved in the host committee CME discussion. So we give input on speakers, we give input on program design, we participate in discussion on what our audience is looking for, what would be useful for them, what is the current environment. So for example, in summer meeting, a lot of programs came out of that discussion. We were able to do, for example, half a day on AI. And that came specifically out of these discussion from input from the RESA committee that this is up and coming topic and we need to bring it in. And there was very popular session within the summer meeting. So I think that balance is good. I see in the long run, RESA has more of a oversight role in terms of making sure that all the compliance is there, all the rules are being followed, and then just kind of a check and balance to make sure that just nepotism is not destroying the whole quality of the program. And yes, I think there is some value in bringing the regional speakers for sponsorship and for regional engagement. But at the same time, they should still try to bring the best quality. I mean, any place where we have a meeting for APPNA, have a university, and you have Pakistani physicians at university, whether it be Dallas or whether it be Houston or Orlando or anywhere, there are universities everywhere, and you can bring speakers from there. Or even in private practice, you try to bring those who have had experience of speaker engagement or have had some training in that, and you want to bring the best speakers. So I think that we are at a good balance now, and RESA gives input, but I think we like to involve more and more the regional committees, the host committees, specialty committees to set the agendas, and we try to give input from the RESA committee.
I think that's a very important point that you raised. And generally speaking, the quality of APPNA CMEs has really gone up. And I think, RESA and you guys have done a great job. Suppose if a young, recent, graduate or a newer member wants to join RESA, so what would be, a brief advice that you would give them if they want to join this committee?
I think that my biggest advice or suggestion would be that most people come to committees passively. They come in thinking the committee will give them a task to do or give them something to do, instead of them bringing an idea or a project to the committee. Committees have their own flow and tempo and rhythm and things going on that will continue regardless of who the member is of that committee and who is not. But if you're coming to the committee, A, you are learning from the committee of how things work. But B, it's wonderful opportunity for you to come to the committee and say, hey, why don't we do this? I have this idea, or I like this, or I like this question. The committee chairs, who are usually experienced, will then tell you, okay, what is doable, what is not doable, how to modify it, how to do it. But then they will give you the platform to run with it. They'll say, okay, write it up. I'll happy to submit it to the BOD for you. I will help clean it up for you. You have access to the coordinator of the committee to help you write this up, or you want to do interviews, you want to reach out to people, you want to write email, you want to create a blast email. Members don't realize that how much power they have once they get into a committee, if they push for it. And the problem is that most members are passive. They show up on a meeting, they answer a question, or they give a comment here and there, but that's it. They don't bring a project to the committee. They don't bring to say, okay, I have an idea of doing something and I'm going to do it. And even in RESA committee, I sometimes see this challenge where members will suggest an idea, but they don't pick up and say, okay, I'm going to run with it. So that's a thing I feel lacking. That one of the reasons I was able to do well in APPNA and rise up on the committees and get to the leaderships and be chair and co-chair of committees for so many years. I think one of my key success was that I would always have an idea and say, okay, let me do this, let me run it. And I always felt that the space is open. Nobody stops you. If an idea, anybody say, okay, how can we help? You do it. As long as you're willing to do it, you do it, and we'll help you. And sometimes only people feel there is a resistance or friction, but it's only because they're just trying to do it in a certain way and not listening to how they need to adopt it. So be willing to adopt your idea to how to get it done, because there's always dynamics, there are always mechanisms and flows you have to follow. But if you're willing to adopt the way of delivering it, nobody will stop you. We will support you. We can find funds for you. We can raise funds for you. We can make connections. We can make networks. We can find other people. We have now coordinators who can help you do things. But please come with your own ideas and projects to do within committees, and don't just join it passively. And anybody can join. Literally what it needs is just for you to reach out to anyone. You can reach out to the committee chair to say, hey, I want to join, and they can advocate on your behalf. Or in APPNA, it's such a small organization, you can literally just email the president and say, hey, I want to be in a committee. Or which committee. And you will get it, seriously. It's rare for someone to ask and not get something in APPNA. It's just, it's such a small committee. It's such a small organization.
Yeah, that's the beauty of APPNA. I mean, we are such a, close-knit community that anyone who wants to do, I think there are people who are ready to mentor. But, really, I really want to thank you for this last comment that you made, about involving newer members, because usually people feel that, I mean, they have to approach. But yes, approach and, come up with ideas, own the community, own the projects. And I think, as you said, they will always have a place. Uh, we're going to come to the next part. This is going to be a very quick part. As you said, as I said, that this is a very casual kind of a discussion. So a rapid fire question type. So you can just answer in one word. Okay.
Okay.
How would you describe RESA committee in one word?
In one word, in for the future forward looking, I would say innovation.
How would you describe your personality fit for RESA?
Education.
Education. And this might be a little bit tough one. I know you've served in both APPNA, Merit, and RESA. So if you had to choose RESA or Merit, which one would you choose?
Merit.
Merit.
First love is hard to forget.
I-
I spent so many years in Merit and
yeah.
did so much. Well, I just Merit has such a huge platform to do things in Pakistan, and there is such a strong support and appreciation in Pakistan. It's unbelievable. Even now when I go, I haven't worked with Merit for so many years now, but even now when I go, people remember me from the work I did in Merit in Pakistan, and they're still appreciative, and it's unbelievable how
Right.
thankful people are.
Yeah, I've been witness to all your tremendous work in Merit, and I think Merit has a special place in our hearts because we're giving back to Pakistan, the country that
Right.
has given us so much.
I
Well, Danish,
agree.
thank you so much for your time, ladies and gentlemen. Danish Bhatti is a dear friend. He is chair of the RESA committee, a dynamic individual. And on such a short notice, you agreed. I hope that the members who are going to hear this, they will get a little bit more informed about RESA, and hopefully we will be able to inspire a few more members. Thank you, Danish, for your time.
My pleasure, Tariq. So anybody who wants to connect with me, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm very active. Just find me on LinkedIn with my name. Connect with me. You can send me a message there. I'm very easily approachable through that. And then I can send you my emails and my WhatsApp in the LinkedIn. But on LinkedIn, I'm very discoverable.
Thank you. Thank you, Danish. And with that,
All
ladies
right.
and gentlemen, we come to the end of our program. See you next time. Thank you.